Hello and welcome to the Quackcast. This is the Drunkduck Quackcast. I'm Ocean. With me is Tance and Baines.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Quackcast 655. Okay, today we're talking about characters that grow. So last time we had this thing where we were talking about the difference between characters that are based on tropes and characters that grow and how these things differ. You know, these trope characters tend to just reset back to their core because they're based on a trope. They don't really have to grow. And then growing characters can advance based on their experiences and interactions with things. And there's all sorts of stuff in between because, you know, life isn't based on just black and white. But you know, we simplify it down, and we were talking about character growth. So this time we are thinking about character growth, and like Tance's idea, I think this was your idea, wasn't it, Tance? Was to
Probably.
to apply growth to characters that we know from something that we didn't think grew very well, and we're going to grow them in a way that actually fits or is more interesting. And of course, our example for this is Star
Wars. It's more interesting to us, at least, like that.
Yeah.
If you liked it, fine.
So we wanted to pick Star Wars, which is our default thing for stories, because it's a really easy, you know, well-rounded kind of story. And we picked a bunch of characters from Star Wars. And so Chance is taking Anakin and Darth Vader, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm taking. Yes.
Yeah. For the Patreon video,
yeah.
Tance was initially going to take Finn, and I was going to do Phasma, but we swapped because I couldn't handle Phasma and Tance could. Tance really took Phasma to the stars. You should hear it. You should watch the Patreon video. It's fantastic. They should rewrite the movie with that. So, and I took Finn in a different direction, and Baines handled good old Boba Fett. Wow, Baines turned it into this much better series than was it. Baines turned it into The Godfather, basically. So, and I'm not exaggerating; it was fantastic.
No, it was amazing. I would watch it, and I don't like Boba Fett personally, but I would watch that.
So for this, Tance is taking Anakin and Darth Vader. I'm taking Boba Fett? No. I'm taking Han Solo and Leia. And Baines is taking Rey and Luke. So, yeah.
I'm so excited, and I don't even totally know what I'm going to say, but I'm already excited.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I know I'm just going to flub it all. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, but first, before we do that, we'll have to have the featured comic. So I'm going to tell you about the featured comic now. Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was I Love You, Lynn Peckett. One door closes and another one opens. If you're lucky, Lynn Peckett so wants to become a fashion designer. She has the talent, the taste, the skill, but it looks like she might not succeed unless she gets some help from a nice stranger. This is a short, dramatic romance story that's only just beginning. The art is wonderfully bold, eye-catching and colourful. It really is a lovely style. There's also a slight twist in that it's sort of an urban fantasy setting with the lead character being a chicken harpy. So, urban fantasy setting, that means you've got fantasy characters in a modern setting rather than fantasy characters in a Paleolithic or Bronze Age or fantasy setting. They're simply in the modern world. So, and we call that urban fantasy. So there you go. And that's what this comic is. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. That kind of contrast of fantasy figures in a modern setting is always very novel and fun. Okay, so I hope you enjoy reading I Love You, Lynn Packett by Studio Evergreen Art and Rated T for Teen. And that was the featured comic, which was I Love You, Lynn Packett, I think. Yeah, that's it. I Love You, Lynn Packett. Right. Okay, yeah, beautiful, beautiful artwork, which I would have told you about in the whole feature stuff. Alright, so next up we have the featured music. This week, Garm Wallace has given us a theme to The White Noise Isn't Working. Sans pouring white noise fuzz, layers upon layers of creepy yet catchy electronica pop stack up over the white noise fog, creating a rich broth of audio delight. Take it away, Garm Wallace, with The White Noise Isn't Working. That was the theme. Thank you very much for that, Garm Wallace, which was, of course, The White Noise Isn't Working. This is a comic by R.M. Cool, rated A for adults. So, yeah, you really shouldn't look at that unless you are of age and you understand that there could be adult content. Right, so, characters that can grow in different ways to what they did in the movies. Who wants to take this first? I can go first.
As you wish. I can go if you want to wait.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not completely sure even what I'm going to say, but I think I have enough of the basics. I've thought about it here and there. Let's be honest. I've thought about it a lot, but not really specifically. I've thought about, frustrations and like, oh, I would have loved it if I liked what happened in those movies.
Tell us.
No disrespect if anyone out there did like it. It's all good, but for me, it was
lots of
so
disrespect. If you like.
Not from me. I just wanted to be happy myself, and I wasn't. So
All right, so
okay, so I'm doing Ray and Luke.
Yeah. Wow. So you're going to tell us about how Luke got into farming blue alien tit milk.
And that's right. Yeah, mine's a prequel, and it all leads up to how he is the being he is on that planet drinking milk. That is so disgusting. I can't even go there. I'm trying to be positive, but anyway, in my sequels, Luke is the benevolent, and I haven't read the novels actually, the expanded universe of books that are very popular, and they started in the mid '80s, I think. And I know very vague things about them, but I actually have even the big ones. I haven't read the books or anything like that. What they did I'm sure is better than what I did because a lot of fans are happy with it. But for me, Luke is a benevolent teacher. So since the end of Return of the Jedi, he's been the galaxy is in much better hands. I have to do a little world building to put him in there and to
Mm.
warm up to it a little bit here. The galaxy has been in good hands. Leia on the political side, Han Solo. I'm not really sure. That's why I'm excited about what Ozone is going to say. Not that you'll be in my world, you'll be in yours, but anyway, Leia is sort of handling the real world stuff, the practicalities of rebuilding the galactic civilization. He's
Hmm.
a spiritual teacher. He's teaching the Force, and of course, for 30 years ago or whatever it is, he started finding new Jedi, new potential Jedi to teach. So now we're 30 years later, and he's obviously got however many students we want him to have, some seen, some unseen. And Luke, I would have made him a, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, a progressive Jedi. So he's moved away from the prequels orthodoxy of no family, no children, and that kind of stuff. Luke is married, he has kids. They might be Jedi students, they might not. At least one probably is. Um, I would have him, um, I guess, almost a kind of a Professor X kind of character. He's just like, he's got a conscience. Maybe not the resources to fix all problems. I'm not totally sure what that would be like. Um, but he has multiple students of multiple generations after all this time. And some of those students are now teachers themselves. Luke is the Grand Master, sort of OG teacher in this new world. He does have one of his early students splintered off from him and became a more orthodox Jedi. This would not be the enemy per se, or not the villain per se. That would be whoever it is. But
Mm.
this would be like an antagonist, a character who rejects the changes that Luke has made. He's more orthodox, like they were in the prequels, and he splintered off to form his own group. So
I
there's
like
definitely
it.
a rivalry
Very
between
much.
um, and we'll see them clash at some point. They would have to meet in the first movie at least. They would have to have some kind of clash. Um, and that's about where I would start with Luke. With Ray, I would make her an outsider. I kind of liked how they started with Ray in the actual movie. He's
Yeah,
this
the
kind
beginning
of
of her was
scavenger
cool.
character. I think
Hmm.
maybe putting her in the desert, maybe you don't need to do that because that was Luke. But I guess you could. You could make her a scavenger of starships or someone who scavenges them in space, even. I'd be fine with that.
Oh yeah,
But
Hmm.
she,
both. Why not?
yeah,
Yeah.
or both. Yeah, exactly. So she's this kind of rough-ish kind of character. At some point, she could be the point of view character. So it's not like Luke or Leia or Han goes and finds her. She could be, sort of self-determining, and she's the one
Mm.
who takes us on a tour through the galaxy as it is 30 years after Return of the Jedi. So we're kind of following her. She is a scavenger. She's
Hmm.
I don't know what else she's doing. I don't know what kind of character hole in her heart she might have. I'm not totally sure, but
She could, like from
Well,
what you're
she
saying,
she doesn't have her parents and she doesn't know them, so that's a
yeah,
thing.
right,
she might like. What if she's like a garbage person, like not a garbage person, sorry, a garbage man, like a scavenger, but across planets. So she's a pilot. She does pilot well, and
yeah,
indirectly she's looking for her parents, but doesn't accept it. Like doesn't admit that that's what she's doing. So she could
right.
be taking us around the galaxy that way, like
I
as
love
you
it.
said. So please continue.
Yes, and so yeah, her parents are somewhere gone, and it's an injury, it's a wound of hers, but somewhere across the huge galaxy, they must be somewhere. She thinks so. She's always kind of looking for answers. She encounters someone tangential to our heroes, maybe. Pardon me, and takes herself on a track that maybe will lead to learning who her parents are. Maybe she doesn't know that yet. But it becomes clear that she has potential in the Force. Luke, or a student of Luke, maybe recognizes this, or maybe they're just together by happenstance, and when she meets Luke, he will recognize the untapped potential. So Luke's rival recognizes this untapped potential as well.
Ah, I like it.
Yeah, so that, and at the end of the first movie, Rey becomes Luke's student. So we can, in the tradition of the original trilogy, a lot of the training can be done between movies, and we don't actually have to see the magical training that happens.
Yeah, but we know it's actually in progress.
Yeah, so like progress can have happened between movies, so allowing us to buy into stuff. So she doesn't have all the Force powers that Rey has in the actual Force Awakens.
How does she get those in the actual movies? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was the whole other
She
question.
just has them, I think. Like they spawn in here, I think.
I
Just
think
does
they were thinking that her
practice.
memories, she had repressed memories of earlier training, but I don't think they ended up doing that though.
Mm.
She has inborn talents because of her family lineage.
Oh God.
She's born great.
Exactly. I like Tense's idea that she's an interplanetary scavenger. She's on planets, she's in space, she's between planets, because that sets up her being a talented pilot. So she has that already. That's really good because we want our heroes flying ships around.
Yeah. And the Force helps her without her realizing. Like she's really good because that Force potential. We have seen Luke using the Force as he pilots, so why not her? So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like
You have inborn
finding
talent, but it's like the talent is just raw talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like,
not. It's nothing without training and refining it, but it is kind of there.
So the way the Force could help is by like dodging things, stuff like that. You know, like the ship becomes an extension of her body, that kind of stuff, and also finding stuff like, oh, this planet will have something really cool and interesting, and then she
hunch.
cool
Like
stuff.
I have a hunch that this planet will be cool.
Yeah. That's great. She has an intuitive knack for finding what she's looking for in terms of this piece of equipment or that, this and that. Yeah.
Which helps with the whole Deus Ex Machina kind of like, you know, I don't know, what do you call it? Like, where the plot is kind of like, you know, people are serendipitously finding the next thing they need. Mm-hmm. And of course she does that because that's her power. So
right.
And she just thinks that she's super lucky or something like that. She doesn't realize that it's because she has this much force.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And obviously that doesn't mean that life is going well or that she's happy or anything like that. But yeah, she has seemingly good fortune in certain areas of finding things and all that kind of stuff. Second movie, I would have her under Luke's training, but she, because of her background, she is a rebellious kind of student. She has her issues. She's got old grudges. She's got some anger. She's got an independent spirit that maybe Luke appreciates because Luke is the hero of heroes in my world. But maybe the Jedi, the more senior Jedi students don't appreciate it as much. She might have sort of some friction with another Jedi, like a Jedi teacher, and she maybe will be. There's the possibility of finding her parents, but it's through the rival Jedi mentor. Or something like that. Like maybe the answers are with this other guy. So she's kind of pulled in at least two directions, let alone whoever the Sith, whoever the real evil option might be, you know. So at least it'll be a sort of a struggle between those two worlds kind of thing. Yeah. And
I love it.
Oh my god! I think she chooses Luke either at the end or in the third movie or whatever. She ends up choosing the light side, I think.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it. That's kind of where it would start, anyway.
What about her lineage?
Yes.
I think the Emperor connection was stupid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Like, who would bang the emperor in the first place? Like, come on.
and maybe being Luke's secret daughter is just too easy. There's
Yeah.
not enough
And
interest.
he would know immediately. Like, he
Yeah,
would
yeah,
know.
exactly. How could he not? Yeah, that's a good point too.
Unless if you were to to go down that road, he knows but doesn't tell her, because for obvious reasons.
Yeah, like the Darth Vader thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So he knows that she's his daughter for some reason. That
So,
would mean that you would need to explain the mom.
so it'd be like an anti-Darth
But
Vader thing, rather than saying like, I am your father sort of thing. Like
Mhm.
it's deliberately misdirected. So when they come together, you're thinking, oh, and he says, look, I never had any children. Like he just says that outright to her because he wants her to develop on her own without, thinking
I
about him
don't
as
think
dad.
that he would lie to her because I think that what Obi-Wan did, lying to him, he really got pissed off about that. But he would leave it open-ended. Like your father will turn
Well,
up, your parents will turn up when it's time, or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. But what I mean is like,
because some reason, like Obi-Wan and Yoda both deceive. There's a tradition of this, a kind of a deceit, but they're doing it for, Yoda doesn't want Luke to have that burden of Darth Vader
Mhm.
was his father. So yeah, there's some kind of reason. Maybe her mother is
but
a
you
dark figure.
also
I don't know.
you
Her mother
also
is out of the picture now. Sorry, Oz, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you also, most importantly, you want to misdirect the audience as to who her father is.
Mhm.
So
Right.
we can't know, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I didn't like her being any established character's daughter. Like
Mm.
oh, she's a Skywalker. Oh, she's a Palpatine. No. Oh, she's I mean, I don't like any of that. I would have her be like the movies went with, like a nobody, quote unquote, in the sense that she is literally the child of two people that had potential in the force. It was never discovered,
Love it.
never like cultivated or whatever. And she is just super talented in the force, and it happens. You don't need to be like a blue
I mean,
blood.
I get that, and that is valid, but it's just like the whole of Star Wars is very much directed in
Yeah,
that things have connections,
yeah, yeah.
and without
You
connections, then
would
it doesn't
connect.
fit in the story.
You would connect it, but I would connect it differently. Uh, so I'm infringing on Bane's though. Yeah. So
No, I want to hear this. Actually, I don't really have a great idea on this, so I'm
So what I
curious.
would do, it would be like a Moses story in the sense that the parents were unfortunately like in a very bad place at a bad time in the sense that um, sometime around the area when Darth Vader was looking for his children or or I don't know some are I would place it. I would need to study to see where it can be placed, but these parents didn't want their kid being taken by the Sith. So what they did was they knew that uh, like they would be actually in the service of the dark side in some way or other, and they would have already given one of their kids to the dark side in some way, to the Sith temple or whatever. I don't know the lore enough, but I would weave it in that way. They saw what happened to their elder child that might surface throughout the movies,
Mhm.
and they
And that
didn't want.
child was Phasma.
It could be. Why
Oh
not?
yes.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, I would love that honestly. That child was Phasma. But
the
anyway,
revelation that Phasma has the Force as well. Maybe we just
yeah.
really know it.
And then that would chime in very well with, what I said in the uh, video cast, that
Yeah.
Phasma becomes, um, because he has the Force as well. Um, so they didn't like what happened, what they did to the kid, and how she was just ripped into something that she never wanted to be, blah blah blah, whatever, I don't know. And they sent their kid away to some other planet, to a family, like very remote relatives, that agreed to take her in. And
Yeah. Like
mhm.
the way Luke was looked after
Yeah.
by his uncle and
However,
auntie.
those remote relatives are not the lovey-dovey aunties, uncles, whatever, and they actually
Hmm.
sell her to someone, and
Oh, yeah.
she gets lost. And then we find her grown up and having bought her debt, and like she would have crawled out of slavery herself.
I don't like the slavery aspect because that ties in too much to the shitty prequels with the how his
It wouldn't
Anakin's
have been
mum
that
is a
simple
slave.
though. Yeah, okay, it's an
So
idea, but I
I
would
mean,
have her parents
I'd have her
not
run
be.
away and
Hmm?
forge your own destiny. Just run away from her abusive parents. Abusive step parents rather than be sold into slavery.
Oh yeah, that could
Hmm.
also work. But
Like, so
we're
she's
talking about her real.
independent. What's that?
We're talking about her real parents, though. Unless,
Yeah.
unless
No, no.
we
I mean,
know.
like her step parents that she's been given to, and
Or
they're shitty, and so
yeah,
she just like says, "See
Hmm.
ya, I'm off to
yeah,
see the world." So she's very
Yeah.
independent and adventurous,
yeah. That also could work.
rather than coming
Or
from a shitty like PTSD, like sold to slavery sort of. I've got my
it
terrible
wouldn't be
past sort of thing.
PTSD necessarily.
But
I
you know
mean,
what
if
I
she,
mean?
if she has earned, see, you know, if she has earned her right to be free,
I know,
then
but
it will be very hard to give it up to be like very disciplined as a Jedi or whatever.
I just hate that sort of
Hmm.
thing. I hate that like
Okay.
the baggage of it. I want it to be like a Luke,
Hmm.
like more like adventurous and have that
It would
spirit
be
to her
adventurous,
rather
very
than
adventurous.
yeah.
Yeah, in Star Wars, like they really like truly horrific things can happen, and there's an emotional impact, but then characters can shrug it off. Star Wars
Yeah.
does kind of work that way sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
Or it could have been something like, if you want her to run away from her abusive parents, they could have been like officers or officials in the Empire, and they are like
Oh, yeah, could
abusive,
be that.
like bleep holes, and they like she just runs away. But in that case, she knows who her parents are, and she keeps running away from them rather than
Hmm.
looking for them.
Right.
And she doesn't know, she doesn't want anyone to know who her parents are, and she has no questions about them.
Hmm.
So that could also be very interesting.
It could be. Yeah, we've developed a really interesting Ray experience. So okay,
If
Yeah,
she's
fine.
not Luke's daughter, she is like by the end a surrogate daughter. I don't know if Luke dies at the
yeah,
end and
absolutely.
he has a Force ghost moment with his surrogate daughter, or if he wanders off into the desert, leaving the galaxy in good hands after the crisis.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
two.
That's
absolutely.
dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd like
But
Luke to just be alive. I wouldn't want him to be dead at all. I just want him to
Me
be
too. You know what?
yeah,
I would
disappear.
like it if he just old Luke just walks away. Yeah, that
yeah.
would be pretty awesome.
You know what would have been an awesome moment? Like they will have their, fights, mentor-mentee fight and a father-daughter fight even, when they get to that intimate relationship. And at some point he prepares to go, sacrifice himself for the galaxy or whatever, context that requires this sacrifice. And then she just steps in and says, you know what, I got this because you taught me well and I know exactly what to do. And
Yeah, passing the torch.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we will both get to live through this.
Yeah.
Uh, No sacrifices this time.
That's good, because that means there's a way of continuing things, but also her getting the power,
Yes.
growing into the power. So yeah, I like that.
You remind me of something else I've thought about with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
What they could have done is that, oh, you got it exactly. It's like this thread of like he in the original trilogy is so willing to throw his life away. He does it twice, and he does it in Empire. He does it again in Jedi, and that's why in the sequel trilogy, it's like you could choose life. It would be great.
Yeah.
Ray, the student, was the catalyst for that. Was pointing that out, and then of course she wins the day. She's the hero of this trilogy. But
Yes.
that would have been great. Like we can.
Yeah, and it also.
Yes.
Yeah, and it subverts the trope that the mentor dies, so the mentor lives in this one.
Yes.
And he's very proud of what has become of his charge.
Oh,
And
I'm gonna cry.
I really like it.
All right, so now I've got to tackle Han's Solo and Princess Leia. Okay, so look, we're thinking about how Han Solo progresses into the sequels. In the sequels, he's like a grumpy old bastard, and he's sort of reverted to being a smuggler and just with Chewie, and he's not even with Leia anymore.
Dad as well, a little bit.
He's
or
what?
A lot. Deadbeat dad, a little bit.
Yeah, he's just sad, and he's sad about his son not being able to raise him. He's just a piece of crap, really. So I want him to still be piloting the Millennium Falcon. I think he's not piloting some other ship, whatever bullshit, and giving that to Rey. No. The Millennium Falcon is not going to be a continuing character in the story. I mean, in that it passes on. He has it, and that's his thing. Him and Chewie have it, and he's with Leia. She's on board it as well. She's not becoming a frickin' general in the, revived whatever the frick that is. She and him are a team that have continued on in their little ship, and Chewie's with them as well. So that's how I want to start that. So that's the idealized version of that team. I don't want them to have some secret falling out after the films. I don't want them to have grown in some way that none of us ever seen or none of us can care about because we've got no way to see it. No, I want our audience expectation of Chewie, Leia, and Han together. And he's... Oh, go on.
I could see Leia being a general and Han being her advisor, because Leia is very straight-laced.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And he has the street smarts. So in order not to have this political collapse that happened the first time, he's the guy that tells her, look, honey, I know you want to do this and it's very good, but if you go about it this way, shit is going to happen. So we're going to do this. And it's like a huge trick that because he's a smuggler, he knows people, he knows how to bring people about. And he tells her, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to set it up like this. And they could travel around in the Millennium Falcon, setting things up.
Well, okay.
And they are a power couple. And they do stuff, That's
yeah, they are a power couple. But they're on the ship together. And I don't know, I see it as him having this kind of wanderlust and him never wanting to be tied down as okay, I'm going to be a general now in the the new rebel group, whatever. I think he would have always wanted to be being free and sort of searching around and being an adventurer. And I think he would have, because he loved that and she loved that about him and she loved him as a person, that she changed herself in order for her to be with him and to have that kind of lifestyle. So they live together on the ship, being adventurers. So that's where I see her like not wanting to go
Oh, that
back
would have been
into being a
unexpected.
general.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they're older now, so they're like, we don't want to be part of some established thing because we think we're better than it. We think we're outside of it. We experienced it. We don't want to be stuck inside this institution again. We want to be outside of it, doing our own thing, like doing like more spy kind of missions, and like doing more adventure kind of sneaky stuff behind the scenes, like SOE kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how we want to support the rebellion, by being like, by even planning spy missions and all that kind of thing, rather than just being blah blah. We want ships here, this kind of boring general shit.
Yeah,
She was
That
in
would
that
be
film.
exciting.
that would be exciting. I think though that you would have a little bit like, I cannot see Leia like changing herself this much, in the sense that I can see them starting that way. But I think that she would, like, she's a commander by nature. She's really good in command, and or at least she would have been if she was written properly.
Well,
But anyway,
the way I saw it, like,
she generally leads. Mm-hmm.
like the experience so in the films, like in the first film, whatever. Okay, so she's commanding a ship, all that kind of stuff. She's trying to get the plans away,
Mm-hmm.
but then, and in the second film, she's commanding this base on Hoth. But then she becomes more of an adventure hero in her own right.
Yeah,
What happens
you do
with
have a point there.
what happens with the Hutt? What's his name? Jabba the Hutt. All that kind of stuff. So she has to get out of that, and then she's with this. She's like on the ground being a fighter and jumping onto like speed cycles and all this kind of thing. She's like this badass in the third film, and I like that kind of trait, going the badass route rather than the whole just general stuff.
Yeah. No, you're right. She does have this trick, and she does, like to go boots on the ground. So yeah, maybe she doesn't really change herself, in the sense that she just expresses that side of herself. Like she finds more pleasure there, in her life, more fulfillment that way. So yeah, maybe.
She has it. She has that adventurous side when she has to. Anyway, when it's by
Mm-hmm.
necessity, she can shoot a blaster. She can figure out how to fly a speeder bike. All this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's also 30 years later, so you could definitely have a backstory where she was there to develop the beginnings of civilization. And now it's like, well, I want to spend more time with Han. We want to sort of do other stuff. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe she gets called back because now things are threatened. At least that's my notion of the sequels. Of like the new civilization is building, but the galaxy is very big and still very wild in some areas, and they need the old guard.
I like to see Han and Leia functioning outside of whatever anyone else has built up. They're functioning outside of it there and still having an impact. So I didn't like seeing her as a general in this position, because it was like that was the role of like a much younger kind of a general character.
Mm-hmm.
Her, with her age and her seniority, she wouldn't have been doing that kind of crap. Like a real life general, a real life kind of commander and officer in that position wouldn't have been doing that kind of crap. That would have been like a colonel, some kind of lower rank high officer. Right. And it just didn't seem very dignified for her to be doing that. So that's why I would think. And you look at older military people, when they kind of reach that age, they're not functioning within the military anymore. Generally they retire or go back into advisory roles, but they're not in that kind of position anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've got too many opinions, they're feeling too in control, and they generally want to have, they don't function well within that kind of position anymore. And it just seems like she was being more of a mother in those films.
Yeah.
And I don't see her as a mum. And they kept on forcing her into being a mum, like hugging Ray and all this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
hell?
Especially for Ray, like she has no connection to her. Krista said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
So-
there could have been some kind of exciting, thrilling intrigue if Leia were a senator, even a semi-retired senator. I do think the sequels, the makers were afraid of politics because of the prequels.
Yeah.
People not liking that, but it's all about how you do it.
So how about kids? Would they have kids at all?
All right, so this Ben Solo guy he's the kid in the prequels sequels. Sorry. Yeah, that's curious, isn't it? Like maybe they do have Ben. Okay, damn it, we're reaching like a time thing. All right,
Oh, are we already?
Yeah, we've got 15 minutes. I mean, we can expand. Maybe okay. I'll just say like I haven't got enough time to put the thought in because I need to pass this on to Tance. So I will say like maybe they do have Ben, and he becomes a dick or whatever, and we just go on with that. All right. What
I
do you
don't think
reckon,
they would
Tance?
have a lot. Honestly, if we go down that path that you described, I would have them be child-free, like they don't have kids.
That would fit better.
Just
That
simple as
would
that.
really. Maybe they can't. They couldn't ever have kids.
Or maybe they just don't want to. Like that is also a choice. They might just not want to have kids because they are doing other things. That sort of thing.
I'd like that. I'd like that better. That they
And that
chose
would
not
be
Nice.
more of a thing if, like, it would mesh really well if Luke actually did have this surprise daughter thing.
Oh yeah.
Especially if he didn't know about her and the mom, for whatever reason, concealed that from him. Maybe because
yeah.
the mom felt like, oh, I don't want to, yeah, or I don't want to burden, the master Jedi with, having kids or whatever. So I'm going to conceal that, and then just something happens to the mom. The mom doesn't need to be like an evil person, like actually very concerning, like a compassionate person, and she overthinks, makes a choice for Luke, and doesn't even, let him in on it that there's a kid, and she lives in some other side of the galaxy so that he doesn't sense that, and then something happens to her, and we have our origin story for Ray, that she thinks that she was abandoned, but then in the end, her mom probably died, and others picked her up and told her some bullshit story about her parents giving her up or whatever. And then when she meets Luke, Luke immediately realizes that this is his child. He has this, and that's why he has this very shocked look to his face that we see when he sees Ray. Like, what the bleep? How can this be? Like,
that would have been great. I would have loved it.
And then of course he doesn't tell her anything, and he also secretly has to find out what happened, and blah blah blah. And
you could
then
have to search for her. They could go looking for her mother. That could be a section in one of the movies.
Yeah. And he has to think like, okay, who, with whom, and that depends. Like if he only had one, partner, it's an easy answer. But if he had like a couple or 2 or 3, he has to follow all 3 leads or whatever.
And then it turns out like Mamma Mia.
No. Mamma Mia is
all the ABBA
like,
songs.
Oh my god. Mamma Mia is like the most.
That's why I said it, Tans. That's why I said it. It's your kryptonite. Well, we have to get onto Anakin and Darth Vader because we got 12 minutes. I mean, we can expand.
Before we do, we should say that definitely Chewie has kids. And
yes, Chewie has
puppies.
Jabba the Hutt has relatives that we have to deal with.
Oh yeah, Jabba the Hutt's that clan slugs, whatever.
Oh
I love
yeah,
it.
I love
yeah.
that idea of the clan. I know that's in the books. He's got brothers and sisters. They're crime
Oh
lords.
wow, yeah.
I love that. I
But Chewie definitely has like a litter, like at least 4 kids, maybe
that would
more.
be great.
Yeah.
And they are, each one has their own personality, and I would definitely make them part of the plot in some way.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh,
cool.
come on.
That would have been awesome if you had like little puppy dog kids in the
Yeah,
movies, or adults or whatever. I don't know what age they'd
teenage,
be, but
teenage and adults, like the
yeah.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
enough time that you could have both. Yeah, and think of how much the merchandisers would love you.
Oh my God, yes.
Those
And
little
I
And
would
you
have
have
like,
kids dressing up and
we have never seen a girl Wookiee, so I would have like this adult girl Wookiee that is the oldest, the firstborn sister, that is, and the teenager son, and she hates him.
I
Uh,
think there was a girl Wookiee in the Christmas special. So
yeah,
Mm.
no, not like that though. No.
but okay, got Anakin and Darth Vader.
Okay, so again, there are two options to this. I'll be as quick as possible. Uh, so I really don't like the fact. I understand that it is a retcon and they had to do it, but we're assuming that this is now a complete like some continuous story. So I really don't like the fact that Obi-Wan lied, even
Oh
for Luke's
God.
benefit. I
Mm.
hate that because they are freaking Jedi, and the good sort of Jedi, if you like. So I don't like the fact that he lied. I would either have him leave it very, like, give the impression that Anakin was killed by Darth Vader, but not in those words, so that Luke can fill in the blanks and think that Darth Vader killed his father, blah, blah, blah. But then when he realizes, uh, Obi-Wan explains that I didn't say that, I said this. And that's what happened, that sort of thing. But that is a cop out. So I would either have uh, Anakin and Darth Vader actually be two different people, and I would have them
Mm,
be
agreed.
one. Yeah, I would have them be close friends, like blood brother friends. Really close together, have been through tons of adventures. They are both extremely gifted in the force. They just like amazing people, and they are the hot shots. They do everything together, and then they also happen to do something else together. They love the same woman.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yes.
Something else. I don't know. This is sorry,
mm,
Tans, just to butt
yeah,
in. You could even make them gay,
yeah, you
and
could, but
they're
then
both Luke's father, but only one is the biological father.
okay. Yeah, that could also happen. That could also happen, but I don't like couples killing each other, honestly. I'll be
What
very honest.
happens? A
Often
lot.
it
It's the
happens a lot.
main source of murder
Yeah,
in
it
the
happens a
world.
lot, and I hate it. I don't like it. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. Totally legit. Yeah, absolutely. They could have been like a married couple, and they have Luke and Leia, and then they kill each other. But I don't like that. I don't want them to kill each other as a couple. Okay.
Mm.
um, so they love the same woman. They fall in love with what's her name?
Natalie Portman.
Yes. They fall in love. They both fall in
Padme.
love with her, and that starts
Oh yeah,
driving
it's
a wedge
Padme.
between them. Hmm?
Padme. Yeah.
Padma, yeah. And they are not kids when they meet her, okay? They are proper adults.
Mm.
And she's a proper, queen and stuff. And
Yeah, we never see them as kids.
yeah,
Never.
never, never. She meets them fully grown. And they are both like bowled over by her. And she likes them both. The thing is that, and it's not that, one is is the dick, and the other one is the good guy, and we all know that she's going to pick Anakin. Okay,
Yeah.
they are both Vader and Anakin are both really good matches for her. So you are going to have like ships that they want her to be with Vader and they want her to be with Anakin, and they are both legit matches. But unfortunately, at some point, she connects more with Anakin over something, and I would make that something significant. Like, for example, they both have an intense love of I don't know, uh, protecting orphans. See where I'm going with this?
Oh
So,
God.
um, and they both have this intense drive to collect the orphans, have the, build, do this charitable work,
Mm.
and they come closer together over this. And Vader sees this happening. He hates it, and then and this hate starts building the shadow in him, and the dark side becomes more uh, enticing as he tries to become cooler for her to be drawn to him. So that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
of course, and he has to watch as they get married, and have and she becomes pregnant with Anakin's kids, and that is the straw that breaks the camel's back, because he was holding out for her eventually divorcing.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. That's cool. That means there's the rivalry, the hatred.
Yeah, and like these should be my kids and you. Like this should be, I should be there. This is me, and he is stealing. Like he descends more and more into madness and psychosis, in that Anakin is stealing what should be mine, and
Mm.
that's the way that he gets corrupted into the dark side and starts becoming basically a Sith.
And
And
that's why he thinks he's the father. He believes he is
yeah, and he starts
choosing
saying
his
like,
father.
these are mine, like it's not you. And at some point when he learns that she's pregnant or whatever, he actually attacks Padme. He tries to uh, SA her in a sort of act of dominance, and that's when the friendship breaks, because Anakin attacks him back, and they have this epic duel over him protecting his wife and Vader being insane, and of course Anakin wins, and Vader lives, and he's so pissed off that he does the ultimate crime as he lives, like going scorched earth, burning bridges, and he annihilates the orphanage that they had been, you know.
Kills the younglings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he kills the younglings, and that completes his journey to the dark side. And now,
Okay.
oh,
and eventually, of course, we have only 3 minutes, but the kids are born. Anakin gets to see his kids, love his kids. They have this really blissful short period together as a family, and I don't do all this crap about Jedi's not being not marrying and stuff like that. Maybe the higher
Yeah, that's
ranking
prequel
Jedi,
bullshit.
yeah, okay, maybe the higher ranking Jedi or whatever, but it's a choice and they can do it because blah 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 whatever. And At the opportune time, Vader attacks the family and manages to kill uh, Anakin
Anakin.
by some kind of trickery. Like he wouldn't have been able to, because Anakin is the superior fighter, although both are very good. But he does something like he distracts him, or he has to go save the kids or whatever, and then he tries to kidnap the kids. So he has, of course, and that's when they have to hide the kids, and then we have our Star Wars, and more or less that's how I would do it.
oh
Well,
man,
And this would be the prequels, 3 movies
that's
of it.
the prequels. Yeah.
Chance it could. Well, could it be possible? Say you've got like him trying to defeat Anakin earlier, and Anakin beating him.
Mm-hmm.
Could Okay, so maybe that results in the physical damage,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to be in the
Yeah.
suit. But maybe because he's in the suit and he's got the extra strength and everything,
Oh,
that
yeah.
could be why he beats Anakin.
Yes,
Right.
yes, I love that.
Now.
That's
That's
excellent. So
Darth
he
Vader.
returns as Darth Vader and he just kills Anakin. I love that. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's a
yeah, yeah.
total badass.
Yeah,
So
and
even
maybe
though Anakin's was better, nothing's can stop him. Oh no, we're gonna
yeah,
end. Go on,
and
Tans.
really quick, like so he lives. He has to go and regenerate, get in the suit, blah 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 blah, and that means that they get this short blissful time together until he returns to kill him. So yeah, that's a great idea. Like they have this epic fight where when he tries to assault Padme in the beginning of her pregnancy and stuff like that, and it is really intense because of course it's two best friends, blood brothers fighting, and it hurts them both because at that point Vader still has uh, like a connection to Anakin. It's not there is rage and there is like you betrayed me, that sort of thing. So it's and they both fight to the death basically. Padme screams and runs away to go get help. So they are on their own, no distractions, and we have this amazing, this amazing peak climax fight, short like a lightsaber fight with complete with uh, force attacks and stuff like that. It's amazing, and eventually, by accident, like the way that Anakin force pushes him away, Vader skids and falls in some kind of a volcano or whatever, depending on where they are, and so he gets this uh, he basically would die, but Anakin cannot stand for that, so he force pulls him out of the lava or whatever it is he is in. So if he left him there he would have died, but Anakin can't. It's his friend, it's his blood brother, he can't.
Anakin saves him.
Yeah,
Basically.
Anakin basically saves him, pulls him out. But Vader does not accept that, um, and he also has, and he escapes basically. But he escapes really like very badly injured, and then in some fashion that it finally reveals to Anakin that he is a Sith. He is not a Jedi anymore. I mean, either his Sith master comes to save him, or whatever, something that makes a big reveal that is the ultimate break. Like, okay, he has turned to the dark side. He is not my brother anymore. Should have let him die. That sort of thing. Um, and that's where the second movie would end, in my opinion.
Oh.
And third movie, the third movie is him having this dual situation where he grieves for his blood brother friend that turned to the dark side, and he also, the entire Jedi temple has to find him because he's very dangerous and has to find this Sith temple that they didn't know existed or whatever. So it's like a really big reveal. Okay, we have Sith to deal with that we didn't know of. So it's not just that, oh, okay, two Jedi fought and one left for the dark side. It's like, oh my God, this reveals this underground Sith temple that we now have to find. So that's the plot for the third movie, basically, like the A plot. They are searching for the Sith, and we also have
Yeah.
Palpatine who is covering for that, and he tries to distract the Jedi from actually finding the temple. All that sort of type of shenanigans. And in parallel, we also have the B plot where it is the blissful life that Anakin has with Padme, and not
kids.
necessarily completely blissful in the sense that he is very much in love with his wife. She's pregnant. The pregnancy is going very well. They are expecting twins. Yeah, they're super happy about that. But she is also a queen, and she and Palpatine go head to head about certain things, tying everything in together.
Yeah.
So around the middle of the movie, the babies would be born. Super amazing event. It is felt throughout the Force because they are that powerful babies, and the Jedi Temple takes notice, absolutely. Um, so does, of course, the Sith Temple at the same time, because we also see slowly Vader getting, in his suit and getting the suit built around him and slowly becoming Darth Vader. I wouldn't, well, or we could
Uh,
just have it on
we
camera and he could be like,
we have to have, because of the way the original trilogy go,
mm-hmm.
we have to have it so he doesn't know that Leia is one of the children.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he knows who the children are, but he knows that there are two kids with that are Anakin's with
Right.
super force powers, kids that should have been his, kids that will be his. He will pull them over to the dark side and become his kids. So, and it will be his ultimate final win over Anakin. So uh, we see him as he heals, because as he has to get into and get used to the device that he's in, uh, you know, uh, build himself up, powering himself with hatred and fantasizing about, getting these kids and raising them Sith, basically. Um, so that's and as the Jedi Temple gets closer to finding the Sith Temple, uh, we're going to have our mega climactic battle between the Sith and the Jedi, and uh, it happens. Like they basically find each other, and we have this big clash between. There is the reveal that Palpatine is basically covering for the Sith, but I don't know if and he will be crowned emperor in the end of the movie. But
I like it.
Yeah.
Like a dark ending to it,
yes,
which is good. Doesn't
But
have
it
to have a
also
happy
leaves
no happy ending.
space.
He wins. He wins. Uh, and but he wins by the skin of his teeth. Like it's not an easy win, but it is a win. And we basically see the empire being born, and that's the third movie, as we also watch in parallel the Skywalkers being, born and established. So there is this big battle, and the Jedi Temple basically gets annihilated, and the kids have and Vader steals away to go find Anakin and his family. So because Anakin has been ordered to take away the kids because they are so powerful in the Force, blah blah blah, and hide them, but Vader catches up with him, and Anakin is outclassed for the first time because of the suit, because he's a Sith, because gazillion things. And Padme is the one that runs away and hides the kids uh, in some inventive way, not like a screaming, let me, rush off and hide the kids. Like she has a B plan that she hasn't even told Anakin, and that the B plan comes into play, and she sends the kids away. But she doesn't abandon her husband in this one. She tries to help him get some kind of an advantage with her gun or whatever, and they both eventually get killed, but they get killed together, and
I like that.
I like
yeah,
it.
and they flip off Vader, like we are a couple, we love each other, and you are the third wheel that never was. So
It wouldn't be a Tant story if someone wasn't flipping someone else off.
exactly, and it's like, and Vader hates it that they die loving each other together, and he basically could never break that. And he also doesn't have the kids, and now he has to find them, and that's where the movie ends. Emperor being crowned, empire being established, Vader vowing to, upend the galaxy if he has to find the kids. End of the prequel trilogy.
Vader wins, but he loses at the same time.
Yes.
I like that. I
always wondered if there was a way to obscure who was who in the prequels, so it still works to watch it in order, and not have revelations spoiled.
Yeah.
Like people change names, or people did this or that, and I always thought like a romantic rivalry would have been a really good way to go with the prequel. Like there was Anakin. I never thought of them being two different people, but I love it.
It's much better. It really fits with the original series so much better. I mean, because the whole thing about Darth Vader being Luke's father wasn't even decided until this.
We could give Vader another name, and Darth Vader is his Sith name that he reveals when he reveals that he's a Sith.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it also could be that people, if you're hiding Luke and Leia, you probably want to change your name. So maybe they have different names through the whole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was originally called Garth Nader.
And also, I really like that Luke and Leia are born with different names. Like maybe they're completely different names.
Yeah.
And
you know what I also love about this is that Star Wars was conceived of as mostly a story for young boys, just prepubescent, just heading towards adulthood. And this is a very good lesson about not being that quote unquote nice guy who gets jealous and becomes this destructive.
Yeah. And we could even have like that. What could have been like there could be some other Jedi lady or what a Jedi girl that really has the hots for Vader, and they would have made an amazing couple. And he likes her as well. And the only reason that he rejects her is that he's infatuated that Padme chose Anakin, and that's the only reason. It's really infatuation. It's not that he actually loves her all that much. It's that how dare you pick him over me?
It's really good.
Would that be the Ashoka?
Oh,
that character?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh
yeah, that I really love that. Yeah, she could be his closest friend because she's friend zoned, but she loves him, and eventually she might even confess to him and say, like, you know what, I'm in love with you. I want you, and he likes it, but he basically blows her off because she's not Padme, and she has already chosen him, so she's not as important. Padme rejected him, so he has to get Padme because she dared reject him, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So what happens to her in the original series? Then is she dead or is she just?
She dies, I think.
Okay.
Or we could have her survive and actually help. I don't think that she would follow him to the dark side.
But I mean,
and she died between series. Like she died sometime after the prequels, or we don't know what became of her.
I have no idea.
No idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because say we're wanting to change the prequels and the sequels, so we don't want to change the original series.
No.
So yeah.
I would have her die then. She dies in the final battle, and and she might die trying to stop Vader from chasing after Anakin.
Yeah. Okay. And Vader's such a badass by that stage. Nothing can stop him.
No.
I like that because, like, my favorite image of Vader now, apart from the original movie where his makes his first appearance, is in the end of Rogue One.
Yeah. That's
and
amazing.
you really see him as a true badass,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just
Yeah,
perfect.
and I really like to see like the dark side, the Sith side gives him an advantage that is very short-lived in the sense that uh, you should be able to see what the allure is for the dark side.
Yeah.
Why would people go to the dark side? Uh, and this is it. Like he
Yeah,
dominates
Yeah. That's the whole
completely.
point, the whole sort of thematic or spiritual point of the dark side,
Hmm.
right? Like it's easier, it's alluring, it's a shortcut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I really like that he still gets. Can we say that on the audio cast? Like he still gets blocked from getting
It's
any
the
kind of.
yeah. It's the only thing I'm not totally sure of, although I love it. Like he's if he's not Luke's birth father, it kind of changes the redemption. You know, the son redeems the father.
Not really, though. Not really. It doesn't.
Tell me. I love
It just changes the path. He gets there again. But what I would do is that he does try to claim him. I'm your father. Like we do have this. Never. I wouldn't change anything in the first two movies. Like I'm your father. Like blah blah
it.
blah.
Right.
You know.
Which
And
a lot of people thought he was lying. So as did I when I was a kid. I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
Vader was
And
lying.
you know, look.
yeah, you heard it, Baines, and then you said like, no.
Yeah. And then what happens is that third movie, Luke runs to Yoda or the ghost of Obi-Wan or whatever, and says, "You lied to me," And they said, "No, no, 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 we didn't lie to you. He is lying. He's a Sith. He lies. It's what they do."
Yeah.
And then they reveal exactly what happened and like go into detail. They don't because they didn't want to go into full detail about how they royally screwed up their mission of detecting the dark side, among their own. Um, so when they have like the first, and now Luke has the insight that none of them did, and he realizes that this dude can be brought back to the light side if he is shown that love takes different ways, and he didn't need to go to these lengths. He had love and he lost it basically. Uh, he lost everything. So Luke says, okay, you know what? I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to entertain him for a bit until I can look into his brain, in a sense, like into his mind, and pull him back. So he says, okay,
maybe
hmm?
maybe instead of that, like him learning and all this kind of stuff, maybe his redemption is just going Luke just going, yeah, you are my father. Because he hasn't got a father anymore. Like
He
Anakin's
wouldn't do that
dead,
because it's the
and this
guy who
guy's the
killed his father.
only.
It's very weird.
Mm.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking of, like, it's because Luke's on the light side, so he doesn't. His whole thing is like moving past revenge and moving
Yeah,
past hate and all that kind of stuff. And maybe he sees him before he had this split with his dad, and maybe he sees him like as a connection to his past
he
and a
does
connection to his dad. So he
absolutely.
just says, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
you're my
but
father."
I don't
But
think that he
now,
would. He would.
in a
He
way,
would exactly that. He would absolutely go for that, and he would want that other guy that before, like Vader pro corruption, let's say. So he would want.
but I'm thinking like if he says that, like if he like appears to
Mhm.
accept him as a father, that is the thing that just goes
Yeah,
bring in Vader's head, and that's what changes Vader. And he goes, "Oh, this is what it's like to have someone think of me as
Oh
a
wow.
I
father.
would. I
Oh
would
my god,
go.
what have
I
I
would have
done? Where have
Luke
I
play
come
a
from?"
super dangerous game over this. He would like disobey as he always does. And he would go meet Vader and say, "Yes, I accept you are my father. Absolutely, you are." But he's not like he does that with a plan in his mind. So he teams up with Vader. They become this like power, not couple, but a power duo, in the sense that um, he listens to like Vader gets for the first time someone that listens to him for him as Vader, and Luke pulls him from this rage. The rage starts like finally after all these years going down and down and down, and eventually, and Luke never says that I know that you are not my father. I know that Anakin is a thing. But Vader realizes it eventually, like throughout the movie. He realizes that this guy, the son of my best friend whom I killed, is here to pull me from the dark side. Is here to just pull me from the dark side, and that makes like Luke will remind him of Anakin in everything, which he will not like.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
he tries to make him more like Vader.
Ah,
Luke learns from Vader. He will learn. He will learn tactics. He will learn, a lot of things, and he will get a very close brush with the dark side.
chance.
yeah. That is one thing kind of
Maybe,
missing from
maybe
Return of
like
the Jedi. Sorry, Ask. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say maybe he says like you're saying like Luke reminds Vader of Anakin. Maybe that's the thing that
Mm-hmm.
would transform him too, transform Vader because he would like actually see him as
Mm-hmm.
Anakin, and it's like that forces him to be in this role again of the
Yeah,
previous
yeah,
state.
absolutely.
It's like
And
Maybe there's like a line of dialogue, a significant line that Anakin says that Luke also says, and
yes,
it's
yes,
connected
yes,
to a
something like that,
thread or
or
something.
something that he does, whatever, or all of these little things, like little morsels of things
Yeah,
that elicit responses in Vader that he hasn't had in years, and reminds him of what he lost slowly,
yeah.
um,
That's
and
very powerful. You
eventually.
won me. I was really against him not being the biological father, but I'm won over by this.
Thank you.
You know
That's
what? Because
honor.
it
Um,
also works. It works if you watch the whole thing in order. It doesn't because the way it is
yeah,
now, it's like the "I am your father" revelation is spoiled in the prequels.
and the thing is, the thing
mm,
is that eventually, before we have the whole peak moment with the Emperor and Vader saving him, saving Luke and stuff. We have this peak emotional moment where Vader finally tells Luke, "You know what? I'm not your father," and like he actually owns up to it. Yeah,
accepts it.
and
But now
Luke
they
says,
have had
I have always."
something of a relationship in a way
Yeah,
in these recent scenes. Yeah.
and Luke says, "I have always known you are not my father, but I'm glad to finally meet you."
Wow. Connection to his own parents, who we never really
Yeah.
knew. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when the emperor, comes in and does his thing, of course he's going to save him, and he doesn't choose then. He has already chosen. He he's decided. He has chosen to protect Luke. The thing that he does at the scene with the emperor is that he also chooses the light side again at that moment,
Right.
not before. So that's how I would do it.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
the
chooses
change.
self-sacrifice too, like he's
Yes,
gonna kill him.
yes.
Yes, exactly. And that way, when he dies and he comes back, he's not Hayden Christensen.
Uh, well, this is like so
Perfect.
heartwarming and so enjoyable. This whole thing.
I guarantee you,
I can't remember the
I
actual
guarantee you that
actor.
there would be tears
Sebastian or something.
in the third movie. Like everyone would cry.
I
I
feel it.
guarantee.
I'm emotional thinking about it, man. Really.
Yeah, and it would show how someone can get deprogrammed from the dark side, and why Luke is a Jedi Master. Why Luke is the ultimate Jedi Master, because he went into the dark side, was not corrupted, and he got a guy back with him. So that, who has done that?
And that way we can have him as Sebastian Shaw. That's what I was
Yes.
trying to think. The real Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
That's how I would do
Awesome.
it. And you have three different relationships in three different stages, and it's cool.
Yeah.
But I like drama personally. Like, I really like
Exactly.
drama, so
Yeah, and dark endings,
Mhm.
which are fantastic because that's what we loved so much
Yeah.
about The Empire Strikes Back. So we have that that tragedy in the prequels, which would be really cool. Not involving bloody
No.
sick mums
No,
and
no, no,
all
no.
that kind of bullshit.
And
Ugh. No slaves, none of that crap.
yeah. And I would have like a
But a
Obi-Wan
much better
be
story.
a really traumatized guy, not like a really traumatized guy, like feeling that he really failed. I would have him be the teacher of,
So it's got a
yeah,
reason to be a
I would
hermit.
have him be the teacher of the two blood brothers, let's say, like Vader and Anakin. He would be the teacher, and he will feel that he failed both of them. He's a frigging failure,
Yeah.
and his biggest scare when he gets Luke is that he will also fail Luke. That's why he's a hermit. That's why he has taken so long to make contact with the kid and blah 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 blah. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But he was always looking over,
Yeah, but
in the
from afar,
shadows.
so
That's
that
why
the
he was
kid doesn't
near
get
him.
hurt, in a sense. Yeah.
Well, we better wrap this up because we don't want it to be too long. Okay, so we've rewritten the stories of Anakin, Darth Vader, Rey, Luke, Han, and Leia, and also
Yes, and so he has
and
kids.
Phasma, and all the other characters. Yes, exactly. Alrighty. And yeah, and if you watch the Patreon video, you get to see us talk about Phasma,
Yeah.
Boba Fett,
Finn.
and
Yeah.
Yes.
Finn. Alright, thanks for
Thank you.
listening, guys,
Thank
to the
you.
Quackcast.
Bye.
Bye bye. We love you.